Gates of Orchid and Iris is brought to you by listeners like you. Thank you. Remember to like, share, comment, review, and subscribe to our podcast. Hello, this is Gates of Orchid and Iris. I'm Paul. I'm going to be the GM. And this is our session 0. And who is with us today?
My name is Sebastian. All my friends call me Cbass. Everybody here is welcome to call me Cbass as well. It's my online presence anyway. And social media, you can find me on Twitter at It's Your Boy Cbass. You know, a lot of people say it's your boy. That's so cool, so I'm going to do that too. Mostly on Discord, actually, at the r/L5R Discord server. And my side thing for that as well is Court Games Pod, the producer, editor, I guess PR guy for them as well.
Hey, I'm Gatts Righteous. That's Gatts with 2 T's. If you want to find me on social media, just type in Gatts Righteous, Gatts, and Righteous at the end. As far as other things that I'm doing you might be interested in, I have a campaign that I GM called Bane of the Ancients, D&D. You can find that on YouTube. And also part of Tales of Swordfall, which is awesome. You should check out that podcast series, as well as another series on YouTube called Heroes of Old D&D.
Hi y'all, I'm Kayla. I am Just Thinking K on Twitter. If you follow me on there, you'll probably see a lot of stuff tabletop RPG related for my blog, DM Dalliance, where we do posts from everything like deep dives into what magical healing in 5e looks like, to silly stuff like what tea pairs nicely with what monsters.
Hello, I'm Rachel, and I don't have any social medias to follow me on or anything like that, so you can just find me on this game.
Hi, I'm Crista, also known as Spoiled Chestnut. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Patreon at Spoiled Chestnut, on all those places. I do art stuff, mostly D&D characters and other tabletop RPG characters, as well as Twitch emotes, layouts, and all sorts of things graphic design. You can catch my streams Monday through Friday, and I've been on a couple of these Swordfall adventures. They're definitely a highlight of my gaming experience. So yeah, go check them out, guys. It's good stuff.
Hi, I'm Mason, or also known as Wabajack. I run the Art of Bushido, which is a fan site for the art of L5R. You can find me at facebook.com/L5R art, or at the Art of Bushido on Twitter. I'm always happy to talk about the art of this game, or even show off my very massive collection that continues to accumulate and I have run out of wall space for.
Yeah, running out of wall space for art. I can relate to that. And I am Paul. As I said, I will be the GM. As mentioned, I am also the GM of Tales of Swordfall. That's the other podcast, which is pretty cool. You should check all the folks there out. But this is Gates of Orchid and Iris. It is a brand new podcast using a whole different system. We are using the Legend of the Five Rings 5th edition system. This one is published by Fantasy Flight Games. Yeah, yes. And yeah, it's a new system for most of us. And it should be pretty interesting. So a little background, instead of like the traditional like roll a pair of sixes or d20, like with most of the recent Fantasy Flight games, it has special dice that tell us a bunch of different things about our characters. But we're not really here for the mechanics today. We're here to talk to each other, meet each other as peoples, because we've only really talked online or, seen each other in social circles on Twitter and whatnot. So we're going to sit down, we're going to talk about our hopes, our dreams, our fears, and a few other things about the system that we want to change or we want to do. And just generally do a session 0. And you, listeners, are invited to sit down and listen and hopefully gain a little knowledge about the system or about how to do session 0s or, maybe even be entertained, hopefully. So, we're going to first start with the premise that I want to do. And I just want the players' input about what they think. Of course, this premise is going to be just kind of a short little thing. It's not really going to go into too much of what we're actually going to do, or, well, spoilers, of course. So, my premise is that we are in the land of Rokugan. Of course, that's where Legends of the Five Rings takes place. And all the player characters are young samurai who are working their way up to the title of Yuriki. That is a kind of like a deputy of like an FBI agent, if we had to put it in modern terms. Anyone can correct me if I'm like totally wrong here. But so they're working their way up. Also, they're young samurai, so they have to deal with life and leaving from home and experiencing the bigger, more outside world. The year is going to take place in 1122 of this world's calendar. And there's a lot of things that have happened so far to lead up to this point. And also, the places that this game is going to take place is, there's going to be 2 groups. One inside. Gosh, let me try this. I'm really horrible with names, guys. So if I like totally mess this up, feel free to correct me because, Japanese is not my strongest suit. So.
大丈夫、心配しないでよ。
Hey, there you go. How about there you go? You have somebody to say names for you right now.
I'll also put this in the chat too, so you guys could be like, okay, you totally butchered that. So, Ryoko Owori.
There you go.
Okay, good. Yes. So, we're gonna have 2 groups. And there's going to be a lot of overlapping players in the groups, but one's going to be within the city of Ryoko Owori, which is the 2nd largest city within Rokugan. And the other group is going to be outside the city, going around in Ryoko Province and some other lands that are claimed by some other minor clans, like the Hare. And that's basically the premise. 2 groups of young samurai trying to make it to the title of Yuriki. And there should be some spooky, good, fun, romantic stuff going on. And some mysteries, too.
My favorite genre. Spooky, romantic. Feel good?
Okay, so I have to admit, usually I always try to put in some kind of trashy romance within most of my games. So, we'll get into that because I don't know how comfortable you guys are to roleplay romantic situations, especially with like some weirdo over the internet. And yes, I will call myself a weirdo.
My experience.
There might be some PC romance.
Ooh.
Spicy things.
Yeah, we'll totally get into that one.
That made you so much more uncomfortable than the idea of us flirting with you.
That's because he doesn't know when to go, okay, fade to black.
No, yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm getting out my popcorn, just continue. And then before I know it, it's like,
Oop.
roll an Earth Fitness check, guys. Anyways, let's get our composures back, which is probably not going to happen anymore. So,
Sorry.
no, it's cool. So what do you think of the premise so far? Like, does it sound pretty good for you guys?
Yeah, the country folk are also trying to be city cops, correct?
Yeah, so you guys are going to work for an Emerald Magistrate, and they are more or less, they're like FBI/CIA agents. They're a step above like local and city cops.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Do you have a little bit better explanation? I don't
Kind
see.
of, sort of. So
yeah, go for it.
basically, as soon as a law is broken that crosses between different clans, that's when it becomes higher than them, and somebody else needs to. Yeah, exactly. We're unbiased, federal kind of approach to things, which is great. But also, if there's ever crimes against the Empire or the Emperor, which, funny fact, arson is actually an imperial crime because it can set fire to large
the entire
sections.
thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything's made of paper walls, right?
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So yeah, so we're basically FBI. So, I mean, it makes sense to have people out in the field and in the city. Okay.
Yeah, and the city, as I said, is the second biggest one. So even though it's a lot more compact, there's going to be probably just as much to do in there as it is out there. And also, I'm taking my crazy GM level up to like 20, as always. And both groups will affect each other.
I love when that happens.
Yeah. You're going to, you might capture a major bandit, and the in-city people will have to like actually escort him through town and stuff like that. So, yeah.
All right, city folks, here's the paperwork. I'm gonna head back out.
Yeah, the other group is just job simulator, huh?
Yeah.
So, are we working for a particular like noble, daimyo, shogun, emperor? Like,
yes.
Who are we working for?
You are going. Your character's going to be working for Emerald Magistrates, which are kind of like head field agents, or like they're basically directors for that area. One Emerald Magistrate, the one that's outside the city, is a roaming one, so they don't have any particular like one post that they're at. While the city is, he basically has a palace. And for those of you who are listening and want more information, always look into the books. The books are fabulous, especially the 5e ones. There's also a L5R fandom wiki out there, which has a lot of information from it's kind of a combination of a lot of different versions. So, and some of the stuff we probably will be a little tiny bit homebrewy, but not too much because, admittedly, I haven't been playing this system as long. But there are going to be some things that will be different and exciting. So for this game, what do you guys want in this? Like, is there anything particular you want to see as we're playing, or any particular plot lines that like you're like, I'd be super interested in this?
nods to Japanese mythology because some of it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just excited to play a different world besides the traditional D&D, Forgotten Realms, high mid fantasy. It's refreshing.
This is certainly a unique setting. I mean, you really can't find another setting that is fantasy Japanese, especially that's been going on as long as this has. So, should be good times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can only think of a couple other ones. Can't tell you the name immediately. I'd have to look through my list of PDFs that I have. But it's a kind of a niche genre, surprisingly, despite how fun it is. But as far as other things I'm really interested in, I love the struggles between the ninjo and the kiri that the book recommends when you're creating your character and stuff. I like it when that comes into play. And I like the whole, especially with an Emerald Magistrate kind of campaign, even if we are just Yoriki, we are given certain privileges and permissions when it comes to upholding the law, but it's all going to be deferent to our magistrate. So having that, man, I really want to take down this bad guy, but I really got to go through process, or, if I'm going to take down this bad guy without following due process, I'm going to accept those consequences, whatever happens. That's also very cool in these kind of campaigns.
I do like the mechanical setup of having the honor and the glory and everything. This is really tangible. Like, you did that, so you lose honor, or you did that, you gain glory. It's neat.
Yeah,
that's been a mainstay since the first edition.
Yep.
And for the listeners out there, our characters are made up of several things, and some of it is I'm trying to lose my voice. That's not good. Some of it's honor, glory, and status. Honor is more on a personal level, and would you guys say a little bit on a spiritual level as well?
It's your internal adherence to the tenets of Bushido.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
philosophical.
Yeah.
Philosophical. That's probably a better word.
There you go.
Yeah. Glory is kind of how the outside world views you.
Kind of like your fame.
Yeah, it's kind of like your fame.
Yeah.
And reputation. And a few other things.
The more glory you have, the more people are talking about you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good and bad.
Good and bad.
Yeah.
Yes, just because you have a high glory rank doesn't mean it's for a good thing. It just means there's a lot of people talking about you.
You could be quite infamous.
Yeah. We, Rachel and I played in a real life game, and there was a very strong rumor that our group had attacked and sacked a village.
Oh God!
Was it true?
No, it was not true.
I've never even been there.
But we ended up gaining more glory because of that. And then Rachel's character started just doing duels after duels, and I think she ended up getting max glory.
Yes.
So somebody's like, "How dare you? Honorable Samurai challenges you. You beat them. Get more famous."
Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes
And
it just be like that.
I was also the one doing duels for other people. Yeah.
Isn't that how like a couple
I
famous gunslingers back in like the Wild West got famous and then eventually died?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Basically, it happens in a lot of different honor-based systems where there's challenges like that. It's fun.
Yeah, it's also kind of thematic too. I mean, one of the small tales of Miyamoto Musashi, he got jumped by some dojo he was going to go fight. They turned him down at first, but then they jumped him later. But he just got, long story.
Yeah.
You
Or more
live by
famous.
the sword, you die by the sword.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
That.
And then there's status, which is just kind of your place in the world, kind of your
socioeconomic status.
Yeah.
Your privilege. It's your privilege, right?
Basically. So since we are doing a game that let's just put it in the simple ways. they kind of have a horrible caste system that goes on, and
super classist.
Oh yeah, and I would like to kind of address that because personally, I feel a little bit uncomfortable going, oh yeah, those people are not actually people and lower than animals, and I kind of want to more or less change that into something more like, yeah, those people are just really poor, and it's unfortunate to be them. Not like, oh yeah, they're less than actual people.
It's like when in your that old D&D campaign, I don't remember what we called it, where you made orcs were just like oppressed.
Yeah,
they weren't bad or savage. They were just oppressed.
And they just wanted they just wanted their rights.
They just wanted their rights, and they're like trying to be all civil, and there's like, oh, stupid orcs, can't be civil. It was
that was
a thing.
Funny thing is, for knights, like European knights, it was the same thing. Knights couldn't like interact or even touch peasants. So there was one point where the peasants revolted, and the lord sent knights, and the knights couldn't do anything about it because, due to the laws of chivalry, they can't touch the peasants, the dirty peasants.
Yeah, we're not allowed to kill the filth. Sorry, guess the filth will kill us.
Yeah, so, but it led, like, I realize that's a terrible thing in like history, but like literally, it's I'm going to send the biggest, strongest, most well-armed people out to deal with a revolt. I'm sorry, all the red tape. I can't. It's not in my job description. I
will
sorry.
lose honor.
The place just gets ransacked. So, like, some ways it can be played for laughs, but I absolutely understand caste systems are bad news bears. It just happens a lot in places that have hierarchy and nobility and that sort of thing. Like, feudal. Yeah, any feudal system is a pretty bad system. It's just romanticized.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to play it like the power play, right? Like, this isn't the power play of taking advantage of others.
Also, L5R has it to where you can kill, oh my god, I forgot the name for the Barakuman without really any consequence. So it isn't that you can't. There's some consequence, but you're not like gonna have like a city magistrate come and throw you in the prison. It'll be more like, you gotta go deal with who's ever the lord over them and maybe give them monetary compensation or do something for them. There's not a lot of recourse, which is something I don't like.
Yeah, you're exactly right about that. You do have to pay for it, whether that's with your time, your duty, or money, because
but
technically
you won't be thrown in prison.
No.
Right, exactly. No legal pursuits, but you are destroying somebody's property, though, if you kill a peasant, which is why some of those consequences come up if you just go murder hobo.
Well, I more or less was referring to the Edda. You can kill them with really no consequence, and that ain't cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Gates of Orchid and Iris. Remember to like, share, comment, review, and subscribe to our podcast. You can also support us through the listener support button on our anchor.fm page. That's anchor.fm/GOIL5R.